Dive in. Thank you for joining the information session to discuss Stage 2 Rapid Transit to Cambridge. We're here to walk you through the draft results of the initial business case. My name is Pat Morabito, Manager of Communications and Community Engagement for Transportation Services. I'll be your host this evening. The region of Waterloo is situated on the lands within the Haldimand Treaty of 1784, a formally ratified agreement acknowledging 6 miles on either side of the Grand River as treaty territory belonging to the Six Nations of the Grand River. The region of Waterloo serves an area within the traditional territories of the Anishinaabe, the Chinaton, and the Haudenosaunee peoples. This territory is within the lands protected by the Dish with the One Spoon Wampum. We acknowledge the enduring presence, knowledge, and philosophies of Indigenous peoples. We acknowledge the continuing accomplishments and contributions Indigenous peoples make in shaping Waterloo Region. With me today is Matthew O'Neill, Manager of Rapid Transit Coordination, and Neil Malcolm, Acting Director of Transit Services. Over to you, Matthew, to walk us through the presentation.
Great. Thank you very much, Pat. And hello, everybody. I'm really excited to be here. My name is Matthew O'Neill. I'm the Manager of Rapid Transit Coordination at the Region of Waterloo, and I'm leading the Rapid Transit to Cambridge project. So, as I said, I'm very excited. Today, we will be doing a quick presentation to take you through the numbers and the results of the initial business case. It's very exciting. We did make a promise to the community to bring rapid transit to Cambridge, and now we have the information and the data to back up our commitment and show that this is an investment in our community worth making. The IBC supports council in making decisions about the route length and vehicle type for expanding rapid transit. The IBC looks at the benefits and costs of different options for rapid transit and compares ridership, capital costs, operations and maintenance costs, economic benefits, strategic benefits, and benefit cost ratios. This project is transformational. It's one of the few tools that municipalities have to make transformational change. So much of what we can do is only incremental. So this is a chance to build on what is great about our community and make it even better. We're at a crossroads. We get to decide what kind of community we want and how we want to evolve. The region is growing, and we're creating a system to attract more people to ride transit. We know the existing Route 302 Ion bus will not be able to serve the needs of our community into the future. Some form of rapid transit is required. Extending rapid transit to Cambridge builds on the success of Stage 1 Ion, which led to more than $5 billion in investment along the Central Transit Corridor. Rapid transit not only shapes growth, it connects communities and it moves people. What are the options that we looked at in the IBC? So these are the 5 options. So there's LRT, there's BRT, there's full length alternatives, and then there's some shortened versions. So when we combine those, we start off with full LRT service. So this is a true extension of our existing system from Fairway to downtown Cambridge. That would create one continuous system that operates together. So you can have one seat ride from South Cambridge to Kitchener or to Waterloo. There are partial LRT services options. There are a couple that are true extensions. So one goes from Fairway to Pine Bush Station and one goes from Fairway to Delta Station. The last partial LRT option has LRT just from Preston to downtown Cambridge. And so it'd be a bit of a separate system and it would have an express bus connection in between. The last option is full BRT. So that service would go from Fairway Station to downtown Cambridge. It would be a high-end BRT system, so with dedicated and separated lanes for high frequency, high capacity buses. Now it would require transfers at Fairway Station between buses and trains. Here's a graphic, a map showing the different alternatives. This shows the length and the limit and where transfers would happen and terminals would be located. Each alternative would include express bus service beyond in order to complete the connection for the full length, but this shows where rapid transit would be located. So a big part of the IBC is the ridership. So this is the 2051 ridership forecast. It was created, developed with a travel demand model. It is used to generate many of the economic, social, and health benefits of rapid transit as part of the IBC. It's mainly relying on total ridership, new riders, vehicle kilometers traveled, and more. Full LRT and BRT have the highest average daily ridership, as you can see on the graph. Full LRT from Fairway to downtown Cambridge has slightly higher ridership than full BRT. That is because the BRT system, again, would require a transfer at Fairway. In terms of the cost, this is probably one of the top questions people ask. How much is it going to cost? So here we have a bar chart showing the cost for each of the alternatives. So we have the present value. So if we have all the costs in today's dollars and had to build it right now versus an escalated value on top, and that's recognizing that things will cost more in the future. So the capital cost includes construction, vehicles, property, design, project management, testing, and commissioning, everything we need in order to implement the physical project. Full LRT and BRT would both require construction of 6 new major bridges, grade separations, and elevated sections. LRT cost is about 3.1 billion versus 2.2 billion for BRT in today's dollars. The difference is the addition of the overhead power system, substations and tracks, and cost of vehicles for LRT. In terms of average annual operating and maintenance costs, here we have a chart showing the estimated value for each alternative. Operations and maintenance costs include the vehicle and system operations, vehicle maintenance, civil and track maintenance, administration and management. The shorter alternatives obviously have lower annual costs. Full BRT costs about $16.4 million annually versus $23.8 million annually for full LRT. So let's talk benefits. So we have a couple different kinds of benefits that we look at within the business case. The business case process involves 4 cases. You have an economic case, strategic case, financial case, and a deliverability and operations case. An IBC places greater emphasis on the strategic case, strategic benefits, and the economic case. So I'll share a bit of that with you today. The strategic case is really the big picture. It's the context. It's what are the goals? What are we actually trying to achieve? Why is this strategically important to the community, to the region, to residents? The economic case is a quantification. So we tally up all the value of certain class of benefits. So these are benefits that we can convert to dollars. It's benefits to the broader community. So it's not just the region itself, but also to customers, residents, and to road users. And it's the benefits that can be basically converted to dollars. So we take a certain proportion of ridership and then say that is equivalent to a certain amount of air quality improvement if you're taking transit versus driving your car, or a certain amount of health benefit because you're no longer sitting in traffic in your car, you're maybe walking or biking to transit. And then we convert them to dollars using standard rates, as is industry practice. And so the economic benefits are monetized, the strategic benefits are not. So what are the economic benefits? We have various benefits, as you can see here. So we have, the growth in transit ridership and transit mode share, travel time savings for new and existing transit riders, improvements to transit reliability, reduction in kilometers traveled in a personal vehicle, a reduction in greenhouse gas emissions, reduction in traffic congestion. And then we have general health benefits. So again, that's related to, having cleaner air, but also more walking and biking related with transit use. So when we tally all of those, if we take an annual amount in each category and then add all of those up and bring them into a present value or today's dollars, we get a total value, a single value. And you're seeing that value here on the bar chart. The economic case, it evaluates benefits not just to existing transit users, but it's recognized that we will have a number of new transit users associated with the system, people who ride that weren't previously, and as well as benefits to road users. It assesses the benefits to broader society through reduced greenhouse gas emissions, reduced vehicle collisions, improved local air quality. New users who are switching to transit benefit by not just the active transportation and cleaner air, but also reduced transportation costs, savings on the cost of vehicle ownership and operation. Other road users benefit from rapid transit due to reduced congestion on roads compared to what we would otherwise see if we did not have rapid transit. Full LRT has the highest economic benefit by delivering the greatest travel time savings, the highest emissions and air quality savings, and the greatest reduction to congestion. Partial LRT routes from Fairway to Pine Bush and from Preston to downtown Cambridge have the lowest economic benefits. Benefit cost ratios. This is something that every business case will include. It's intended to boil down all of this, all of the monetized economic benefits down to a single value and compare them to each other. So it does capture a set of benefits and metrics, but it is not the entire business case, and it needs to be taken into context. We can't necessarily turn everything into dollars, so this looks at the things that we can. So the BCR, it again only considers the monetized economic benefits. Full LRT has the highest economic benefits. Full BRT has the highest BCR, benefit cost ratio. That's due to the lower capital costs compared to full LRT. Partial LRT routes don't have strong benefit cost ratios. So what are the strategic goals? What are we trying to do with rapid transit? Why are we doing this to begin with? The strategic case evaluates the 5 options against the various strategic goals for rapid transit to shape growth, connect communities, and to move people. This is what we're trying to achieve. So we want to build a sustainable and healthy community. We want to increase opportunities for transit-oriented development. We want to concentrate growth along the CTC to strengthen connections between Cambridge and the rest of the Waterloo region, to increase access to housing and employment opportunities, increase access to rapid transit for more people, and support the goals of the GRT business plan and improve travel time, reliability, and the ease of use for transit users. In terms of shaping growth, both LRT and BRT can encourage development and influence land use around stations, generating further economic benefits, which in turn generates more transit ridership. The extent of development attracted by LRT and BRT depends on various factors, including the local context and developer perception. Shortened LRT options that end at Pine Bush and Delta miss out on opportunities to attract development to downtown Cambridge. The Delta station has limited potential for new development around that station and limited room for a transfer terminal. Another factor for influencing land use is that we have an existing system in Kitchener-Waterloo that is proven and has a track record of success for influencing land use. We've already seen it work. Excuse me. So to connect communities, partial LRT routes don't achieve the strategic goal of connecting the urban centers in Waterloo and Kitchener to Cambridge. Partial LRT routes that end at Pine Bush and Delta don't connect to high employment and housing areas in downtown Cambridge, and Cambridge residents would miss out on important housing and employment opportunities. Partial LRT routes miss out on important potential for existing and future transit ridership. Partial LRT from Preston to downtown Cambridge would require multiple transfers for riders traveling to Kitchener, increasing travel time and reducing ease of use. Only full LRT achieves the original vision of a seamless connection from Waterloo to Kitchener to Cambridge. BRT would require a transfer at Fairway Station. Here you can see a chart, a graphic showing an example trip between Southeast Cambridge and Kitchener or Waterloo. And it illustrates what vehicle you would be taking and how many transfers you would need to take according to each option. Full LRT creates the continuous connection from downtown Cambridge all the way to Waterloo. What does all of this mean? LRT has a higher cost to build and operate, but it delivers the greatest economic benefits to Waterloo Region and achieves the strategic goals of rapid transit, as was the case with Stage 1. BRT has lower costs than LRT, but delivers less economic benefit and achieves many, but not all of the project's strategic goals. The partial LRT options fall short of economic benefits and fail to achieve the project's strategic goals, unlike the full-length options. They miss out on the potential to shape development and miss important connections to employment and housing areas. The partial versions don't have a continuous connection from Waterloo to Kitchener to Cambridge, and they leave residents near downtown Cambridge without a direct access to rapid transit or require multiple transfers. The benefit of rapid transit isn't just in the length and a station by station. It is in having an entire corridor, and it is in connecting destinations like downtown Cambridge, which has existing transit demand, has existing decent density and mixed uses, and has a lot of potential to grow. So we've been doing a lot of public outreach to inform residents and get their feedback. We already have, I think it's over 1,400 engaged surveys already to date. So great response. We're really happy to see all the enthusiasm and excitement for the project. We continue to encourage people to go and do the surveys. It's still open right now, and we will continue into October. We've done an Ipsos survey, and we've had really good response on that. And that goes across the cities, and people who use transit, people who don't use transit. So there's a really good cross section of feedback. It's going to be really meaningful when we package that up in November and bring it to council along with the results. So from now until November, we'll continue with the engagement. We will start summarizing that feedback and what we heard and bring it to council in a report. And we will seek direction from council on the vehicle technology, the route length, and as well, we will seek direction to pursue funding, full funding for the project with upper levels of government. And we will be presenting a plan for the next few years to progress the project and start advancing it towards implementation. So that's my presentation for today. Thanks for listening, and I look forward to hearing some questions.
Perfect. Thank you, Matthew, for that presentation. A quick note for anyone who is newly joined, you can put your questions and comments into the Q&A tool or raise your hand and we'll give an opportunity to ask your question. Feedback will be collected through the survey tool, which is posted in the chat. All right, we've got a question here. Sorry, just give me one sec. All right, first question here. Will the 4 townships have to pay for rapid transit to Cambridge? Neil, can you take this one?
Great. Thank you, Pat. And thank you for the question. And I also want to thank everyone for attending tonight. Really appreciate you taking the time to join us for this conversation. It's really important. A great question. So I think it's important to clarify that rapid transit is area rated to the 3 cities. So the townships do not contribute to the reserves or funds that pay for rapid transit project costs, including capital operations. So great question. Thank you. And important that we clarify that for everyone.
All right, thank you for that, Neil. Next question. When will Cambridge be connected to other cities directly? It takes over 2 hours to get to Guelph or Hamilton and over 3 to get to Toronto or Brantford, changing bus and train at least twice. Neil.
Yeah, thank you again. Another good question. So it's as we think about intercity travel, and if I'm getting to the root of the question, a lot of the intercity travel routes are the jurisdiction of the province, so our partners at Metrolinx and Go Transit. Currently, the region of Waterloo and Greville Transit operates inside the region boundaries, the Tri-City area predominantly, but also some services into the townships. We continue to explore, is there good opportunities to partner and make sure we make the connections to intercity travel? It's important to many of our customers. So we'll keep working with Metrolinx and Go Transit on improving those connections and making it easier to get to and from different parts of the province.
Thank you, Neil. All right, next question. What has resulted in the delay of rapid transit expansion into Cambridge? Is it simply a matter of the Cambridge Mayor and City Council not being cooperative? Matt, over to you, please.
Great, thanks for the question. Well, to start, we were focused for a little while on building this little thing called LRT in Kitchener-Waterloo, which took much of our focus for a few years. So I will admit that we were quite focused on that, and I think rightly so. And that project has been a huge success, not just for the community, by the way, but nationally and internationally recognized. So I think it's worth pointing that out, that we delivered a successful project. So we picked up the Stage 2 ION route in 2015 and started to take a closer look, and we recognized that there was a lot of opportunities to refine the route and look at the station locations. And so we really dove into that with the community. And so from about 2015 to 2019, we rationalized, like, what's the right route for this project. I can tell you it's a big project, it's complicated, and spending that time has been really worthwhile to eliminate constraints, to make sure we have the right project. We completed an EA, a transit project assessment process, which is a big step and a necessary step. We took a closer look at the South Terminal, the location, and did a new evaluation there to really make sure that was the right design for the right cost. So, and then we've been working on updated cost estimates and the initial business case. So that's basically takes us to today. So this is all work that's really necessary. I know sometimes you may not hear about things that are going in the background, but I can tell you that we've been using time to our advantage on this project and being very methodical. And I think we're really in a position now to really well positioned to ask for funding and then move it forward through future technical phases and getting it ready for implementation.
Thanks, Matt, for that. All right, keeping it going. How are the forecasted ridership numbers calculated? Matt.
Yeah, so it's using a travel demand model. This is something that is typical for a project like this for municipalities. So travel demand models can also be used for roadways or local transit service. And this is based on the land use. So we use the approved provincial forecast that the region developed a land use forecast of population employment into 2051 to look at where the density is and where the people are. And then we looked at comparison of trip times for different modes and where all the trips are coming from and going to, and how people make their decisions about what mode to take. So that travel demand model creates that ridership forecast. And so this is a practice that's been developed in the industry by professionals, by engineers, transportation planners, and then it's calibrated and validated against the ridership we're seeing now, and against what we've seen from maybe other projects. So it's a pretty good estimation of the ridership we'd see.
Thank you for that. All right, keeping us going. Can you let us know what percentage of funding do we expect from each level of government for the full LRT option? Matt.
Well, as of today, we don't have money in our hands. We will be seeking full funding for the project from the federal and provincial government. We think we have a great case and a great project. This project builds on a very successful LRT project in Kitchener-Waterloo that is one of the first modern P3s in urban transit infrastructure. It's a successful P3 for us. It did everything we wanted it to for a very good price and in a very good schedule. So it's been up and running for years now, and not every project can say that. So we think that the region has done everything we can, that we deserve full funding for the project, and that's what we will be asking for.
Perfect. Okay. Um, Next question. Did Cambridge have to pay taxes already for the LRT in KW, even though it's not in our city? Matt, back to you.
Sure. So when in 2011, when council approved a funding plan for LRT, it was done with contributions that were area rated to the three cities on so development charges as well as property taxes. And so the answer is yes, that there were contributions from Cambridge residents, myself included, that did contribute to stage one ion. So that would that would be the case going forward for any work that we're doing now. Property that needs to be acquired, that sort of thing, where it will be area rated. So in other words, we're not going to any costs associated with the project. We're not going to put all on Cambridge residents for stage two. So I think that cost share goes both ways, not just with this project, but with many region services.
Okay. Continuing on, are developers significantly more interested in developing Cambridge downtown with the full LRT? Matt.
So I think so. Yeah. I mean, let's just look at Kitchener-Waterloo. That is really the evidence. The proof is in the pudding, so to speak, that Kitchener-Waterloo were great before LRT. But I think it's just added to their greatness. And I think we expect the same thing with Cambridge, that as soon as LRT was announced and approved and funded, there was an immediate reaction and interest in development in Kitchener-Waterloo. So long before we opened service, even when it was under construction, we saw building permits and applications rolling in. We saw cranes, we saw development and investment, and we had a lot of feedback and endorsements from the development community, from businesses who decided to locate here. And it was pretty clear based on their feedback and what they told us outright that it was, LRT was part of their decision to locate here. It was a factor. It was a demonstration of a commitment, and it gave them what they needed in order to make it really worthwhile. It was the difference maker. If you're looking at multiple different places, and we've got LRT, that it's a bit of a difference maker, and it's going to help attract and retain talent. So these are all factors in, the development community's decisions where to invest, where to put money, especially for an entire corridor that's seeing such a big investment.
Thank you for that. Keeping the momentum going. If the partial LRT plans are implemented soon, then would it be practical to develop the full LRT route later? Matt.
I think the regional council has to date endorsed a full length LRT extension. We did have BRT and some shortened versions evaluated as part of the IBC, but formally with the direction from council, that there's been a real commitment to a full length LRT extension. So, I don't in the results we're seeing, there isn't I don't see a strong case to do a part way solution. I think, as I said earlier, that the value in an LRT extension isn't necessarily in just getting to the next station or maybe two stations. It's in the entire corridor in its entirety, and the synergies that brings, and it's in connecting destinations. I think with this project, there are pieces in the middle. There's this, some rivers and a highway. There's some transportation sort of barriers there that we need to get over, to bridge, so to speak, in order to make that connection. And so once we do that, it really only makes sense to go the whole way.
Perfect. Thank you. How does stage two relate to the GRT business plan? Neil.
Yeah, thanks, Pat, and thank you for the question. It's a really good one. ION Stage 2 and the GRT business plan, they really complement each other. The GRT business plan, which was recently endorsed by Regional Council earlier this year, really talks about, improving transit services across the region, making transit more frequent, more reliable, and really easy to use, make it the easy first choice for residents that want to get around the region. So, the plans for Cambridge and Kitchener-Waterloo and beyond are really well complemented by, ION in Kitchener-Waterloo, rapid transit extension into Cambridge. We have the existing ION bus, the 302 that goes to Cambridge now. The main corridors that are served by that will be complemented and nicely served by the rapid transit extension to Cambridge. We've done a lot of network redesign in the Cambridge service area in about 2 years ago, where we implemented a number of route changes that really complement what would be a future our rapid transit corridor. So really, they dovetail nice together and work together to really improve connections and transit service and travel time reductions within the city of Cambridge and beyond. So really complementary.
Thank you for that. Okay, next question. Recently saw a YouTube video which showcased that the Ion 1 had the cheapest cost per kilometer of any rapid transit LRT built currently in North America. How does the Ion 2 per kilometer estimated cost fare in that respect for the full LRT option? Matt.
Yeah, good question. I think so our current cost estimates are derived from current and recent comparable projects. So it's going to reflect a cost per kilometer that's similar on par with other LRT projects that we've seen recently, because that really is sort of the best information we have, the best guess, so to speak, as to what it will cost to implement. I certainly think that there's opportunities to bring that down, to rationalize the cost, to value engineer it, and control the design and the scope so that we can, keep control on costs. But we're not quite at a procurement stage. We're only at a class 4 cost estimate, which is still pretty high level. We have more design work and investigations to do that will allow us to bring some of those risks and variables down, so we know more about the project, and we can then complete a higher level of cost estimate that's more accurate, and we can have a lot more confidence in that number.
Thank you for that. Where will this new rapid transit system run from and to? Downtown Galt? How many stops along the way within Cambridge? Are considerations made to ensure intersections are set up to prevent backlogs, such as bus stop being stationed directly at an intersection such as Delta intersection? Matt?
This one sounds like a me question. So
Yep.
I'm actually going to stop sharing the presentation. I'm going to share a route map, and let's hope this works. So this is the route map. Hopefully that's appearing on your screen. This is available on the project website, stage2ion.ca, also on the Engage site, engagewr.ca/stage2ion. So it's 7 new stations, 6 of them in Cambridge. It would extend from Fairway Station. It would connect into the existing system, and then I won't describe the route to you. It's probably better just to look at it. I can tell you that we have some functional design drawings on the project website, stage2ion.ca. It's under the Environmental Project Report, EPR, Appendices, Appendix A. Anyone who wants a direct link or has trouble finding it, let me know. And you can see what it would look like sort of on the ground, with grade separations and bridges, how it's crossing the river, where it goes down each of the streets, and all of that. So hopefully that answers the question. The intersection treatments, I think you can expect it would be very similar to what we see in Kitchener-Waterloo with stage 1, which functions quite well through intersections, and it's very complementary to the local bus service. So the train is basically running through the middle of many intersections at the same time as cars and trucks are going on with that green time. Periodically, side streets get green time. So it's working quite well right now, and we would look to basically do something similar for stage 2.
All right, thank you for that. Next question here. Have you considered this plan and connecting it to future plans for Metrolinx bringing GO Train to Cambridge? Neil.
Yeah, thanks, Pat. That's another good question. I think, the region staff and council continue to advocate and really continue to work with our provincial partners at Metrolink. So, making those GO connections to Cambridge and all parts of the region so that, the residents of any of the three cities or beyond have a good connection from the local transit system that we provide through Grand River Transit to new and improved GO connections, especially in Cambridge to Union and other parts of the province. So, really, it's inter provincial service that's provided to and from the region, but we really want to advocate and continue to promote that we need this service for residents of the region and work with GO Transit and Metrolinx to make that happen.
Thanks, Neil. I want to encourage all of our attendees. We'll do a final call here for any questions. We've got a few more to get through, but if you haven't had a chance to ask a question, feel free to do so now. Continuing on, what would be the estimated time in LRT from downtown Cambridge to Fairview? Matt.
About 30 minutes. But so that's one way between downtown Cambridge Station and Fairway Station. Yeah. That includes all the dwell times at each of the stations along the way.
Perfect. All right, keeping it going. Should light rail be chosen, how will you better connect Preston and Blair to the LRT? Neil.
Yeah, thanks, Pat. I think this goes back to the business plan and some of the work we've already done in the city of Cambridge about realigning some of our core network and routes to make them more frequent, more regular, more reliable connections with rapid transit and the existing 302 Ion bus and the future rapid transit corridor. So we've done some network redesign in Cambridge to better align connections into this corridor already, and I think if we move forward with rapid transit continuation to Cambridge, we'll continue to look at, what's a fast, frequent connection from other parts, Preston, Blair, areas that need to get the connections into the main corridor and then connect to the rapid transit system and up and through Kitchener-Waterloo, Cambridge, all the way up and down the corridor. So really, we've got two things we're working on: the development of the business plan or the rollout of the business plan over the coming years, but also we start thinking about Blair and other areas more on the periphery of the city. We even start talking about the township service strategy and making better connections beyond Blair out towards, North Dumfries, continued connections into the townships to really improve everyone getting access to the service that they require.
Thank you for that, Neil. Okay. Next question. What is the estimate for the number of years it would take to build Ion to full LRT option, assuming ideal conditions and no challenges? Matt.
Well, last time I was asked this question, I had forgotten my crystal ball. I brought it today. So I'm kidding, of course. It's a bit early for us, to be honest, right now to really have a solid handle on how many years. It will depend on a number of factors. And some of those we need some direction and buy-in from council on how the project should be undertaken. And certainly we need funding, which we don't yet have and will be seeking. And so that's really the next key milestone when the clock starts ticking is getting that funding. And then we can actually start talking in concrete terms about timelines. I think we're really focused on that next step of getting funding and as well as the next sort of design and pre-construction phase and the nuts and bolts, the technical work, getting in the field and finding out what's out there, doing design that will advance the project no matter what, regardless. So once we have that, once we have funding, once we do an analysis of procurement approaches, and once we do that with council and some engagement with the public, we'll have a better idea of what kind of timeline we're looking at.
All right, thank you for that. Okay, I see no further questions here. No open hands. Oh, one just popped in. If someone wants to jump on the train from downtown Galt and needs to park their car there, is there a consideration for the additional parking required? Matt.
This is, you know what? I'm surprised it took this long to get this question because this historically has been one of our favorite the questions that I get is, are you going to have a park and ride? Um, so the short answer is if you need to, if that's how you need to get there, you're going to be able to do that one way or another. Um, we would hope that we're going to have really good local transit service and we can get you there by bus. I think most trips that involve LRT now involve a transfer. And so we see really good uptake on people using transit for their entire trip. I think another great option is that we'll be looking at is facilitating active transportation. So direct walking, biking, having facilities there, having a good network in the immediate vicinity. So our goal would be providing such good, alternative transportation modes that we can make that connection without you having to park. But certainly, we're not out to eliminate all parking in the city. People still need to park. So there will still be options to park. I can guarantee that. Exactly what that looks like and exactly, where that is located, we'll have to work that out. I know, for example, the city is very keen to make sure that we don't miss out on all potential users, and certainly some people need to park and ride. So yeah, that will definitely be a consideration. And watch for more engagement as we work through the design and some of these particulars, because I expect that this question will continue to come up. So thank you for that.
Thanks, Matt. All right. Well, on behalf of our team, I want to thank you to everyone who took the time to join us tonight. Please remember to fill out our survey using the link in the chat. We will continue to collect feedback until the end of October. Engagement results and next steps for the project will come to the Sustainability, Infrastructure and Development Committee on November 4th. Details can be found on the Region of Waterloo website or on our Engage Region of Waterloo page. Have a great evening.